Hi, my name is Melissa-Louise, and if you like vlogs, hauls, and any type of comforting content, then please subscribe, like, and comment, and I would love to have you here. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my Mounjaro journey so far. And before I start, I'm not a medical professional. This is my own experience, my own opinion. And if you're thinking of going down this route, then please contact your local GP and get advice. So I've been on this journey now for about 5 weeks. So I think I've got a good opinion of how things are going, what's going well. And I think just enough so I can share my journey with you guys. So I'm going to give my reasons for wanting to go on this medication. So I've always, ever since I was a child, always been, the chubby one. I've always liked my food. And, ever since I was a child, I've dieted, I've been up and down, and I've not always done it in a healthy way. I actually don't think I've ever done it really in a healthy, sustainable way. And lately, the past year, I got a PT, I was calorie counting, the weight was coming off a little bit and then going back on. So, I wasn't really making the progress that I wanted to make. And I do think, as you get older, it is harder to lose weight, and I've just developed a lot of bad habits over my life. So I suppose I felt that after doing a lot of research and watching a lot of things and, just making sure this was the right option for me. And also, I am on an anxiety medication, which is sertraline, which I'm trying to come off. And there was a little bit of, would I be able to go on this medication whilst on another type of medication, which, I was able to. I spoke to my doctor and he gave me the okay. So, after doing a lot of research, and I would recommend you always do your own research, I decided to go on Mounjaro. So I've been on my journey now for 6 weeks. I did do a lot of research into where I could get it. I didn't want to go through the NHS, even though I am classed as obese. The waiting list is just ridiculous. So I'm able to buy it myself. And I ended up going with MedExpress, who, I've had no problems with myself. I am on 2.5 milligrams. And they say that the 2.5 milligrams is for like your introductory dose. And obviously after the first 4 weeks, you should then move up to 5. But actually, I think if it's working for you, then, why would you pay more money? Why would you, do that kind of thing? So I have stayed on 2.5 and I probably will, until I feel I need to go up a dose, But I am losing weight slowly but surely. It's roughly about 1 to 2 pounds a week. And I did have 1 week where I stayed the same. But overall, I've lost 9 pounds in 6 weeks, which I'm really happy with. So and I don't believe in, people do lose weight at different rates. And I know some people that are on this, their first week, they lose like 9 pounds. But, I don't want to lose weight quickly, and I don't want, it took me a long time to get to this size. So I do want to lose it slowly and learn along the way. I have been calorie counting, and I have been exercising. I don't go to a gym, but I do go to fitness classes, because if I went to a gym, I just wouldn't do anything. And I just find fitness classes, you've got somebody there telling you what to do, so you have to do it, really. And, a GLP-1 isn't a quick fix, so, I know there's a lot of stigma about, oh, why don't you just stop eating and move more? Well, it's not always that black and white. So, I think there's an element of naivety from people who say things like that. But also, normally it's people that are slim. And, they don't necessarily know what it's like. So I would say one of the biggest things that I've found with Mounjaro is I'm not thinking about food. So before, I would wake up, I'd be thinking, oh, what can I have for breakfast? And then I'd have breakfast, and then I would be thinking, oh, what can I have for lunch? And it's like an over-consuming, thought of, what can I eat? Or, even if I wasn't hungry, I would still eat. I would never have something to eat and then think, oh no, I'm full, I don't want that anymore. I would just continue eating. So, I think from that perspective, it has made me think a lot more about, what I'm eating and when I'm eating, how much I'm eating, and that is massive. Like, I could go into Tesco and buy a whole pizza, which was like, says on the packet for 6 people. I'd eat all of it, and I would still think I was hungry after. So, I was eating a lot, and I never seemed to have that I'm full switch. So, I was overeating, and I would also binge. I would binge quite a bit. And, I'd always think, like, oh, it's the weekend, or what can I have to eat? Should I get like some snacks? Or, I could quite easily have a 12-pack of crisps and eat all of them. Like, binges like that. It's not healthy. But when I'm doing it, I didn't think anything of it, kind of thing. I didn't feel great. I felt awful. But I suppose it's like a comfort thing, isn't it? So it's just one of those things, and I'm sure other people have done the same. So yeah, I don't obsess over food now, and I also make better choices with food. So for that reason alone, it's done so much more for me than, weight loss. And before I started, I also did a lot of research into supplements, because obviously with a change of diet, you're not necessarily having all the nutrients that you need. So I read, like, a lot of people have, they lose their hair, they, you know, are constipated, or they feel sick. I mean, luckily I haven't had any of those side effects. But, you know, it's not to say that if I went up a dose that I wouldn't get those side effects. Just how your body reacts to things. So with regards to supplements that I've taken, I do take collagen. I use collagen, and to be honest, I got all of my supplements from a brand called Nutrition Geeks, and I get them all from the same place, so it's so easy. This is the one that I use, the Collagen Glow Up, and you literally just have 2 tablespoons of this in your coffee every morning. I mean, you can put it with other stuff. It says smoothies and, you know, stuff like that. But you don't taste it. There's no taste to it. And yeah, I have it every morning. This is my second lot. So yeah, I do really rate that. I also use biotin. It is recommended that you do take biotin purely for your hair, skin and nails. So yeah, it's literally 2 tablets a day. So I take that every day as well, every morning with my cup of coffee. And I also take vitamin D3 and K2. So this, again, this is 1 tablet a day. And it helps support your immune system. And yeah, I really rate the brand, to be honest. And they're so easy, they're so affordable and quite easy to get. Like, their shipping is pretty good. So, and they also do bundles on their website, so you could have a look at that as well. So another plus side of Mounjaro for me is the effect it's had on my mental health. So obviously I take sertraline. I was on 100 milligrams of that. I've now halved it down to 50, and I want to basically half that again and then just come off of it. Obviously have to do it slowly, and you know, always speak to your GP about that kind of thing. But for me, it's improved how I feel about myself. I'm more confident, you know, I've got more energy. I want to go out, I want to exercise more. Whereas before I was so sluggish and so fatigued constantly. So, you know, for that, it's so great. And another thing that I make sure that I prioritise during the day is my protein. So it's so important to obviously make you feel fuller for longer. But obviously my appetite, you know, I don't really have an appetite. So when I'm, you know, looking at my meals, what I'm going to eat, I just make a better choice with protein, and I prioritise it. Also, keeping hydrated is so important. You know, you just have to just keep drinking water. You know, if you have a headache, keep drinking water. If you know, if your stomach's rumbling but you're not hungry, drink some water. That's just, you know, I would say that's good even if you're not on a GLP-1. I'd say I do enjoy food more now. I think before I was just having food because, I don't know, it was a comfort, or it's just something I've always gravitated to. But now I'm actually thinking more about what I'm eating, and I'm having to like prepare it. You know, also looking at the nutrients, looking at the calories, and it's just, you know, it just makes me feel good. So yeah, I just think, you know, regardless of, you know, I don't particularly listen to people's opinions, you know, on social media or anything like that. But, you know, I think if you can make your own just choices and put in the research and make sure it's right for you, because, you know, you're doing it for you at the end of the day. So, yeah. If you've made it this far, thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. I will be doing regular updates on my journey, so I'll keep you updated with my weight loss and how things are going. And if you'd like to leave a comment, like, subscribe, if you have any questions, just ask and I'll get back to you. And yeah, thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you, bye!